I'm Eleanor, 72 years young, and let me tell you, life's been a wild garden full of blooms and thorns. For years I was a florist, crafting bouquets for starry-eyed brides and tearful farewells, always sneaking a moment to sketch the delicate curl of a rose in my notebook. But when my Frederick passed, our sweet home turned into a hollow shell. Every vase on the mantel, every photo of us dancing at the town fair, every scuff on the floor from his favorite armchair, it all whispered his absence. I'd shuffle through the rooms, chatting with my petunias, hoping they'd give me a pep talk. They didn't, but they were great listeners. Loneliness is a heavy blanket, isn't it? It wraps around you, making even sunny days feel gray. So when my son Jake suggested I sell the house and move in with him, his wife Mia, and their teenage daughter Lily, I was all in. I pictured cozy evenings with Lily, maybe teaching her to bake my famous lemon bars, swapping stories and feeling like I belonged again. I poured my savings into their new house and packed my bags with more hope than a spring seedling. That house was a beauty, a 2-story charmer with a wide porch perfect for rocking chairs and a backyard begging for a flower bed. I brought my sketchbooks, my trusty pencils with their chewed-up ends, and my gardening gloves, ready to dig into this new life. Jake, bless him, carried my boxes, teasing, "Mom, you've got enough pencils to draw a whole forest." Mia, with her perfect hair and dazzling smile, wrapped me in a hug and said, "Eleanor, this is your home now. We're so happy you're here." I believed her, feeling a spark of warmth I hadn't felt in forever. I myself into the house too. I'd fold laundry, humming tunes from my old radio days, or polish the dining table, admiring Mia's collection of crystal candle holders. She ran a boutique, always bustling with new designs, so I figured I'd help keep the house humming. I'd arrange fresh tulips from the market in a vase, thinking they'd brighten everyone's day. Jake would come home tired from coding and say, "Mom, your flowers make this place a palace." I'd blush, but inside I was beaming. I felt like I was weaving myself into their world. The house had its own charm. The kitchen had a deep sink perfect for soaking flowers, and the living room boasted a fireplace I imagined us gathered around, swapping stories. Mia would fuss over my flower arrangements, saying they were too bold for her decor. Jake would change the subject when I mentioned gardening, saying the yard was Mia's call. Lily would sometimes cut our chats short, mumbling about schoolwork. I shrugged it off, new home, new rhythm, right? I was so wrapped up in my dream of family that I didn't see the storm brewing. At first, I was all about pitching in, arranging tulips for the dining table or sketching in my cozy room by the kitchen. But Mia started picking at me one morning. I wore my favorite lavender sweater, hand-knitted by my aunt, mind you, with little daisy buttons, and Mia wrinkled her nose. "Eleanor, that sweater's so vintage. It ages you." I laughed it off, thinking she was just teasing, but the sting lingered. Another day, I left my sketchbook on the kitchen table, open to a half-finished rose. Mia sighed and said, "Your art stuff's cluttering my workspace. Can we keep it out of sight?" Before I knew it, my pencils, erasers, and sketch pads were boxed up and carted to the garage, stacked next to old paint cans like forgotten relics. My gardening dreams got the same treatment. I'd brought my trusty gloves and trowel, hoping to plant a patch of roses in the backyard. I'd spend hours imagining lavender borders and maybe some sunflowers for Lily to sketch. But when I mentioned it, Mia waved her hand. "The yard's curated, Eleanor. Your tools don't fit the vibe." Curated? It was grass and a few shrubs. My gardening gear ended up in a dusty corner of the shed, and I felt a pang every time I passed it. I tried to keep busy, folding laundry or polishing the silverware, but even that got a side eye. "Eleanor, you're using too much polish. It's wasteful," Mia said once, her voice sharp as a thorn. I started wondering if I was doing everything wrong. Jake, my son, was no help. He's a programmer and is always on his laptop. When I tried to talk to him about Mia's comments, he just shrugged, not taking his eyes off the screen. "Mom, Mia is very demanding when it comes to the house. Just give her time." Time? I tried my best. I kept quiet, not wanting to cause a scene, but I felt really bad and lonely. The hardest part was Lily. That girl was my sunshine, with her curly hair and quick laugh. We used to sketch together, her copying my flower drawings with a spark in her eyes. But Mia's words started creeping in. One day I showed Lily a sketch of a lily, fitting, right? And she barely glanced at it. "It's kinda old school, Grandma," she mumbled, echoing Mia's tone. I overheard Mia telling her, "Your grandma's habits are so dated. You don't want to pick those up, do you?" It was like a knife to the heart. Lily started dodging our chats, spending more time on her phone or out with friends. Once, I caught her rolling her eyes when I offered to teach her how to arrange a bouquet. "It's not my thing anymore," she said, and I felt a piece of our bond slip away. I'd eat dinner alone in my room sometimes, claiming I was tired, but really I was avoiding Mia's nitpicking. "Eleanor, your plate's in the sink again. We have a system," she'd say, like I was a kid who forgot her chores. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling. I'd think of Frederick, how he'd always say, "Eleanor, you're the heart of any home." But here I felt like a ghost, fading into the background. I'd catch myself apologizing for existing. "Sorry for leaving a teacup out. Sorry for humming too loud. Sorry for being me." I'd look at my sketchbooks, now gathering dust, and feel a lump in my throat. Had I lost my place in the world? I kept hoping things would turn around, that Mia would warm up, that Lily would come back to me. But those hopes were starting to feel like petals pressed in a book, pretty but stuck in place. By now, I was feeling like a faded flower in Jake and Mia's house, but I held on to hope like a stubborn. My birthday came around and I didn't expect a parade, but maybe a card or a hug from Lily, something to make me feel seen. I woke up that morning with a flicker of excitement. Birthdays always meant something special with my Frederick, maybe a homemade cake or a drive to see the wildflowers bloom. I thought surely Jake, Mia, or Lily would acknowledge it. I put on my favorite lavender dress, the one with tiny embroidered daisies, and even pinned my hair up, feeling a bit festive. No one said a word at breakfast. Jake was glued to his laptop, coding away, and Lily was texting, barely looking up. Mia breezed through, muttering about a little get-together that evening. "Eleanor, could you make one of your desserts?" "Something simple," she said, her smile tight as a drum. My heart lifted. Maybe this was their way of planning a surprise. I dove into baking a peach cobbler, my specialty, picturing us all laughing around the table, maybe even singing happy birthday. I spent hours in the kitchen, peeling peaches and mixing batter, the sweet aroma filling the house. I set the cobbler to bake, golden and bubbling, and arranged a small vase of daisies for the table, hoping to add a touch of cheer. Mia popped in, her high heels clicking, and nodded at the cobbler. "That'll do," she said, then added, "Oh, before the guests arrive, could you check the fuse box in the cellar? The new lighting system's acting up." I thought it was odd, me a florist poking at fuses, but I wanted to help. "Sure thing," I said, grabbing my old smartphone, a clunky hand-me-down from Jake, and heading to the cellar stairs. The cellar was dim, smelling of damp stone and old boxes. The light switch barely worked, casting shadows over the cluttered shelves. I fumbled around looking for the fuse box, my dress snagging on a rusty nail. I called up, "Mia, where's the box exactly?" No answer. Then I heard the door above slam shut, followed by the click of a lock. My heart ached. I climbed the creaky stairs and pounded on the door. "Mia? Jake? This isn't funny." Mia's voice came through, sharp and cold as a winter wind. "Eleanor, you'd ruin the mood out here. Just stay down there." I froze, my heart pounding like a drum. "It's my birthday," I said, my voice cracking. She laughed, a sound that cut deeper than any knife. "Oh, is that why you're dolled up? This party's not for you, Eleanor. Don't make a fuss." I sank onto the steps, my legs wobbly, tears stinging my eyes. Locked in the cellar on my birthday? In the house I helped pay for? I felt like a discarded bouquet. The party sounds drifted down. Clinking glasses, laughter, music I didn't recognize. Mia's voice carried, saying, "Finally, a night without her old lady chatter." My heart shattered, each piece sharper than the last. I clutched my phone, my hands shaking, and remembered the security cameras I'd hidden around the house. I'd put them up after my locket, my poetry journal, and my sketching pencils started disappearing. Mia always blamed my forgetfulness, but I knew better. I opened the camera app, my fingers fumbling on the cracked screen. The feed showed the living room, decked out with balloons and a banner that read, "Celebrate." Not for me, apparently. Guests milled about, sipping drinks, while my peach cobbler sat on the table untouched. I switched to the kitchen feed, catching Mia laughing with someone I didn't know. The betrayal stung, but I kept watching, my hurt turning to a quiet determination. I wasn't just going to sit here, locked away like an old vase in storage. I'd find out what was going on even if it broke me. Not long ago, I hid these tiny surveillance cameras in paintings and an artificial plant because my treasures kept disappearing. First, the medallion that Frederick gave me for our anniversary, a silver heart with our initials, went missing. Then my diary with poems about our garden disappeared. Even my favorite pencils for drawing, worn down to perfection, were gone. Mia always clicked her tongue and said, "Eleanor, you've been so forgetful lately." Forgetful, yeah, right? I wasn't born yesterday. That's why I installed these cameras, hoping to find out the truth. Sitting on the steps in the basement, I opened the camera app, my fingers trembling on the cracked screen. The feed flickered to life, showing the kitchen upstairs. There was Mia, her perfect hair gleaming under the chandelier, whispering with Nathan, Jake's financial planner. Mia leaned in, smirking. She's out of the way now. We'll have her packed off to retirement home before she knows it. My breath caught. That place was more like a warehouse for old folks than a home. Nathan nodded, his voice low. Paperwork set. Jake's ready to sign her off as unfit. Her savings are nearly all ours. I felt like I'd been dunked in ice water. My savings? The money from selling every penny I'd poured into this house? I switched to my bank app, my hands shaking so bad I nearly dropped the phone. I'd always been careful, checking my account to make sure I could cover groceries or a new sketchbook. But now the balance was a punch to the gut. Almost nothing left. My life savings, the nest egg Frederick and I built, had been drained, funneled into something I'd never heard of it, never signed a thing. My mind raced, picturing Mia and Nathan laughing over cocktails while my future vanished. I felt sick, betrayed, like every memory of family dinners and Lily's giggles had been a lie. Then I opened my email, hoping to find something to make sense of this. What I found was worse than a wilted bouquet. There, buried in the spam folder, were dozens of messages from my daughter, Sarah. Sarah and I had drifted apart years ago, a misunderstanding that left us both stubborn and silent. But here were her emails stretching back years, full of apologies, updates about her life, even photos of my grandson I'd never met. "Mom, I miss you," one read. "Please call me." My eyes filled with tears. Mia must have tampered with my account, marking them as spam to keep us apart. I pictured her smug smile, deleting Sarah's attempts to reach me, and my hurt turned to fury. I sat there, the cellar's damp air clinging to my skin, my lavender dress smudged with dust. The party upstairs droned on, clinking glasses, Mia's fake laugh, but I was done being invisible. I thought of Frederick, how he'd say, "Eleanor, you're tougher than a thistle." That spark of resolve grew, like a seedling pushing through concrete. Mia and Nathan thought they'd outsmarted me, but I had those cameras, those emails, and a heart full of fight. I wasn't just going to cry in the dark. I was going to pull their scheme apart like petals off a daisy. The party upstairs hummed along, all laughter and clinking glasses, while I felt like a discarded bouquet. But I wasn't alone anymore. I opened my phone, hands shaking, and dialed Sarah, my daughter I hadn't spoken to in years, thanks to Mia's email tampering. When she answered, her voice broke like a twig. "Mom? Is it really you?" I could hear her shock through the crackly line, and I spilled everything. The cellar lock-in, my drained savings, the forged papers, the retirement home plot. I told her about the security cameras catching Mia and Nathan's whispers, and the emails from her I'd found hidden in my spam folder. Sarah, who's a community outreach coordinator for seniors, didn't miss a beat. "Mom, this is textbook elder abuse. I deal with this nonsense every day. We're not letting them get away with it." Her voice was fierce but steady, like she was ready to march into battle. I pictured her in her office, surrounded by files and photos of her own family, her determination giving me strength. She told me to keep the cameras recording, capturing every word Mia and Nathan said upstairs. "Every clip is evidence," she said. I fumbled with the app, making sure it saved to my cloud account, my fingers cold against the screen. The kitchen feed showed me a pouring wine, laughing while Nathan shuffled papers, probably those fake documents with my name scrawled in a jagged imitation of my loopy signature. Sarah had me dig through my email again. I forwarded her every message from Nathan I'd never agreed to, all tied to that shady fund. I also sent screenshots of the bank app, showing my savings gutted, and the forged signatures on documents I'd never seen. "These are gold, Mom," Sarah said. "They're sloppy, and we'll nail them for it." She was already on the phone with a lawyer friend, Thomas, who was drafting a restraining order to keep Mia, Jake, and Nathan at bay. "He's good," she assured me. "He's handled cases like this before." I pictured Thomas, maybe in a tweed jacket, scribbling furiously, and it gave me a spark of hope. But I wasn't just looking to get out of that cellar. Oh no, I wanted Mia and Nathan to feel the sting of their betrayal, to see their precious social world crumble. Sitting there, the damp air making my joints ache, I started plotting. Mia loved her fancy parties, her boutique's reputation, her circle of high society friends. What if I exposed her scheme right in front of them? I imagined playing those camera clips at one of her gatherings, watching her face fall as her guests gasped. I'd make sure she couldn't wiggle out, that her lies would unravel like a cheap sweater. And Nathan? His slick financial planner act wouldn't hold up once his fraud was public. As for Jake, my heart ached. He was my son, but he'd let this happen. I'd deal with him later, but for now, I wanted justice with a side of poetic sting. I wiped my tears, my resolve hardening like clay in the sun. Frederick used to say, "Eleanor, you've got a heart of fire under that florist's apron." That fire was roaring now. I kept the camera app open, recording Mia's laughter, Nathan's smug whispers, every damning word. I sent Sarah another email, a quick note. "I'm not done yet. They'll regret this." The cellar felt less like a prison and more like my war room. I wasn't just fighting for my money or my freedom. I was fighting for me. For every time I'd felt invisible. The party upstairs was winding down, the chatter fading to a low hum, like bees settling in for the night. I sat on the cellar steps, clutching my smartphone with its damning camera footage. My heart was a jumble of hurt and resolve, but then I heard soft footsteps on the stairs. A whisper cut through the dark. "Grandma? Are you down here?" It was Lily, her curly hair barely visible in the dim light, her voice trembling. I stood, my knees creaking, and called back, "Lily, honey, I'm right here." She hurried down, her sneakers scuffing the wooden steps, and threw her arms around me. Her eyes were wide, shimmering with tears. "I heard Mom laughing about locking you in. I thought she was kidding. Grandma, this is awful." I hugged her tight, my heart aching for this sweet girl caught in her parents' web. Lily was only a teenager, with a smile that could brighten any room, but now she looked like she'd been slapped with guilt. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice muffled against my shoulder. I patted her back, feeling the warmth of her hug, and said, "Oh honey, it's not your fault. You're my sunshine in this storm." We sat on the steps and she spilled her heart. She'd noticed Mia flaunting new designer handbags, shiny leather ones that cost more than my old florist shop's monthly rent. "Mom said they came from smart investments," Lily said, her brow furrowed. "But it didn't add up." I nodded, my mind flashing to my drained savings, funneled into that shady fund. Lily's hands shook, but her eyes had a spark of defiance. "We can't let them do this," she said. I told her about Sarah, my daughter, who'd called the police and a lawyer after I'd sent her the camera clips and forged documents. "But first," I said, my voice low, "I'm going to face your mom and dad upstairs right in front of their guests. They need to see who they really are." Lily's jaw dropped, but she nodded, her curls bouncing. "I'm coming with you," she said, her voice steadier now. I felt a swell of pride. This shy girl who used to hide behind her sketchpad was ready to stand with me. We crept up the stairs, my old knees protesting, Lily's hand steadying me. The cellar door was still locked, but Lily jiggled the handle, whispering, "I know where Mom keeps the spare key." She darted to a kitchen drawer, grabbed it, and unlocked the door, her hands trembling but sure. I took a deep breath, smoothing my dress, and said, "Let's give him a show, kiddo." But then Lily did something I never expected. The door to the basement was still locked, as Lily hadn't expected it to slam shut behind her, and it was impossible to open it from the inside. But Lily turned the handle and whispered, "I know what to do." She rushed to the kitchen drawer, pulled out a crowbar, inserted it into the door frame, and we managed to break the door open, her hands shaking but steady. I took a deep breath, straightened my dress, and said, "Let's put on a show for them, sweetie." But then Lily did something I didn't expect. I was stunned, my mouth open like my quiet granddaughter, who barely spoke up at family dinners, had just lit a match under Mia's perfect world. The clip was short but brutal. Mia smirking about sending me away, Nathan gloating about my savings. I could already imagine the pings on phones upstairs, guests whispering as the truth spread. "Lily, you're a firecracker," I said, chuckling despite the ache in my chest. She gave a shy smile, but I saw her strength like a seedling breaking through pavement. With her by my side, I felt ready to march into that party and let Mia and Jake face the music. Lily and I crept up from the cellar. The party had dwindled to a few stragglers, their laughter floating from the living room, where Mia's crystal candle holders gleamed under the chandelier. I took a deep breath, smoothing my hair, and whispered to Lily, "Here goes, kiddo. Let's make him squirm." We stepped into the room, and there they were. Mia sipping red wine, Jake fidgeting with his tie, and Nathan flashing his slick grin at a couple of guests. The air smelled of my peach cobbler, still sitting ignored on the table, and I felt a surge of righteous anger. This was my home too, and they'd locked me away like an old vase. I held up my phone, the screen glowing with the kitchen footage, and raised my voice. "Mind explaining why you locked me in the cellar and helped yourself to my savings?" The room froze. Mia's wine glass hovered midair, her perfect smile twisting into a scowl. "Eleanor, you're confused. You locked yourself in that cellar," she snapped, her voice sharp as a thorn. Jake's face went pale, his eyes darting to the floor. "Mom, what's this about?" he stammered. But there was a quiver in his voice that said he knew more than he let on. I hit play on the video and Mia's voice filled the room. "She's out of the way now. We'll have her packed off to EW's soon retirement home." Nathan's smug reply followed. "Paperwork set. Her savings are nearly ours." The guests gasped, their eyes wide as saucers. Phones started pinging. Lily's social media post was spreading like wildfire, tagging me as boutique clients and friends. Lily stepped forward, her curls bouncing, her voice fierce. "Don't lie, Dad. I heard you agreed to send Grandma retirement home." I swear I could have hugged that girl right there. Jake's mouth opened and closed like a fish, no words coming out. Mia's cheeks flushed, but she doubled down. "This is nonsense. Eleanor's making it up." I pulled up the screenshots on my phone, zooming in on the forged signatures, my loopy handwriting replaced by jagged scribbles. "Legal, you say?" I asked, glaring at Nathan. "These aren't mine, and you know it." Nathan, all slick charm, tried to smooth things over. "This is just a misunderstanding. All transactions were above board," he said, his smile as fake. But the guests weren't buying it. Their whispers grew louder and I caught snippets. Did she really steal from her? That's her mother-in-law. Then came a twist I didn't see coming. A woman in a sharp blazer, Mia's boss from the boutique, stepped forward, her eyes narrowing at Nathan. "I know you," she said, her voice icy. "You pitched a shady investment to my firm last year. We reported you for fraud." She pulled out her phone, dialing her lawyer right then and there. And Nathan's face went from smug to sweaty in a heartbeat. Just as the tension peaked, the front door swung open, and in walked Sarah, my daughter, with a police officer and her lawyer friend, Thomas, in tow. Sarah's eyes locked on mine, fierce and protective, her hair pulled back like she meant business. Thomas, in a neat suit, slapped a stack of papers on the coffee table. "Restraining orders for Mia, Jake, and Nathan. These are effective immediately," he said, his voice calm but firm. The room went silent, except for Mia's quick, panicked breaths like a cornered cat. The officer stood by, his badge glinting, and I felt a rush of relief. My plan to expose them was working, and with Sarah and Lily by my side, I was no longer invisible. The police carted Nathan off in handcuffs, his slick suit rumpled as they led him out. Turns out he wasn't just scamming me. He'd swindled half of with his shady fund. Mia faced charges for elder abuse and theft, her perfect socialite mask cracking faster than a dropped vase. Her boss, that sharp blazer-wearing woman from the party, didn't just fire her. She spread the word, and Mia's boutique clients dropped her like a wilted bouquet. I heard she tried to spin some story about being misunderstood, but nobody bought it. My heart still ached for Jake, my son, who stood there that night head bowed, admitting he'd been dazzled by Mia's promises of a fancy life. "I thought it was for us, Mom," he mumbled, but his words felt hollow after all I'd been through. I packed my bags, my sketchbooks, my gardening gloves, and what was left of my pride, and moved to with my daughter Sarah, her husband Paul, and my grandson Oliver. Sarah's home was a cozy craftsman with a front porch perfect for sipping tea and watching the world go by. Paul, a history teacher with a knack for photography, welcomed me with a grin and a stack of old photo albums. "Eleanor, we're making new memories now," he said, and I believed him. Oliver, with his dimpled smile that echoed Frederick's, stole my heart the moment he ran up, holding a toy truck and asking, "Grandma, do you draw cars?" I laughed, my first real laugh in ages, and said, "Honey, I'll draw you a whole fleet." Lily came with me, navigating the fallout of her parents' divorce. Poor thing was shaken, but she was tough like a daisy in a storm. She'd sit with me in Sarah's backyard, where I started a small garden, lavender, roses, and a few sunflowers for good measure. We'd talk about school, her art projects, anything but the mess we'd left behind. My revenge wasn't just the legal kind, though that felt good. I took Lily's video, the one of Mia and Nathan plotting, and sent it to every contact in Mia's phone, which I'd sneaky copied during my last week in the house. I pictured her so-called friends gasping over their lattes, whispering, "That's who she really is?" It was petty, sure, but after being locked in a cellar, I figured I'd earned a little poetic justice. Thomas, Sarah's lawyer friend, worked miracles. He recovered most of my savings, untangling Nathan's fraud, and started a legal fight for the Oakwood Avenue house, since my money had funded it. Every time I saw a new bank statement, I felt a bit more like myself again. Jake sent letters, his handwriting shaky, begging for forgiveness. "I was wrong, Mom. I didn't see what Mia was doing." I tucked them in a drawer, not ready to respond. My heart wanted to forgive my boy, but my head said to wait. Betrayal's a deep cut, and I needed time to heal. Living with Sarah was like finding sunshine after a long winter. We'd cook together, her kitchen smelling of herbs and laughter. Paul showed me his photos, black and white shots of old bridges, and I started sketching again, capturing Oliver's grin or the roses in my garden. Lily joined in, her drawings getting bolder, and we'd pin them on the fridge like a gallery. I planted more flowers, my hands in the dirt, feeling rooted at last. The hurt of Mia's betrayal lingered, but exposing her and rebuilding with Sarah, Paul, Oliver, and Lily, that was my victory, sweeter than any bouquet I'd ever arranged.
Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Did Jake really not know about Mia's plans, or did he just decide to pretend at the right moment? If you liked the story, subscribe to the channel and give us a like.